Hey there, guys. Yeah, the weather has been crazy here in East Kentucky. I'm not sure where you're at in the world, but I'm going to be speaking in terms of Fahrenheit. On Christmas Day it was like pretty warm, and then 2 days ago it was 73 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just a tiny bit above room temperature, around 19 Celsius, if I remember correctly. And then 2 days later, so today, it is in the low 30s, high 20s Fahrenheit. Um, and the wind chill is below 0 Fahrenheit. But I'm still outside, still working out. I just figured I would run through that real fast. This is not a weather channel, but it's just crazy how the weather's been. The reason why I mention that is because I am going to be here in the very near future. I'm going to be building another calisthenics gym. I built the one that you see here this past summer. I'm going to be building another calisthenics gym inside my house. This is not, a construction channel either. It's a calisthenics channel, but you can't really do calisthenics without a gym. So when the time comes, I may try to show a bit of how I designed and built the inside gym. It won't be as nice as this outside gym, but it doesn't have the exact same purpose. It's meant to be compact and allow you to work out even when the conditions outside aren't so desirable, like today. Outside will still be my primary gym, but it'll be nice to have the extra option of staying inside depending on the circumstances. Getting past that, I just switched to the 6 rep warm up. I just finished, loosening up, stretching out, and I get into the 6 rep warm up with the band. I've talked about this before, but it's just part of the warm up. I'm real big on warm ups, and especially. I feel like I have aches and pains all the time. I don't know if that's normal for when you get past 30, or if it's where I trained so hard for so many years, or it's just the deck of cards I was dealt in life. But I'm real big on warming up. I think it decreases your chances of being injured, and it also makes you stronger. It gets the blood flowing, gets your neuromuscular connection, your mind-muscle connection, gets that going. I've had a physical therapist tell me before in my past that your first set is not your strongest set, and if you do 3 sets, your third set's not going to be either. It's usually your second set, because that first set's kind of a warm-up, and then your second set is before fatigue is really set in. And then your third set is when you're fatigued. But I thought that was pretty interesting, and I think there's definitely some truth to it, because I notice, if I do a good job warming up, not over warming up and causing fatigue, but if I do a good job warming up and I get the blood flowing well, I tend to perform better on the skills that I practice. I think I'm about done with this 6 rep warm up, and we'll get into the pull day specific warm up, which is essentially where I just hit 2 sets of pull ups, very low reps, just to tell my body, like, hey, this is what you're going to be doing today, and to try to get it ready for that. Yeah, so there's that first set. My knee's doing a lot better. I can walk around a lot better now, but I still don't want to drop on that foot, so I'm very careful, to catch myself. Alrighty, sorry about that. I had a phone call. Anyways, I'm hitting that second set of the pull-up specific warm-up, or the pull day specific warm-up. I'm just trying to get give the muscles and the connective tissues a little bit more of a heads up about what's about to come their way. And here I'm starting to get into skills a little bit. This is kind of more warm up, honestly, but I'm preparing for one arm pull up training. Here I'm just, I'm taking it easy on that shoulder that I've complained about so much, and I'm just kind of shifting my weight, from one side, one arm to the other. Given, the circumstances of my shoulder, I decided that today I was going to stay on the rings for the one arm pull up training, because the rings are, they require a lot of stabilization, but they're actually a lot nicer on your joints because they let your arms turn, how the joint wants to turn throughout ranges of motion. Whereas if you're on a bar, you're kind of locked in a position, and unless you're really good at an exercise and really conditioned for an exercise, then it can be a little bit more challenging on the joint. So I decided that today I would do one arm pull training on the rings, and I also decided that I would stay on the top half range of motion, because where I'm having problems tends to be the bottom of the range of motion, where I'm fully extending that shoulder. You can see there I do the top half, and I kind of switch sides. You gotta take care of your body. You gotta listen to what your body's telling you, and I hate going back into regressions. When I've done further progressions of something, that's frustrating. But you also got to keep in mind, if you're not nice to your body and you push it too far, then you may be set back very far. You may be having shoulder surgery or something. And I've never had shoulder surgery, but I've had my fair share of other surgeries, and I can confidently say that I wouldn't be happy with that. These one arm pull variations I'm doing right now are actually a lot more challenging than they look. I'm kind of shifting my weight over that one arm, and I'm trying to hold at 90 degrees of flexion there between my and my elbow, and it takes quite a bit of strength to do that, or at least it does for me. I'm a big guy. I'm 5'11", and I'm about 200 pounds. Maybe after the holidays I can go down a bit in the pounds, but I had to get a little kip up there on that ring muscle up. It felt a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to feel today. I'm actually pretty good at ring muscle ups, and my excuse for that is going to be that those one arm pull variations were that challenging. I had to make it up to myself. Had to prove I was good at muscle ups by going to the bar, and they felt pretty good. I kind of chicken winged a little bit there on that last one, but the way you get out of chicken winging, I've been doing muscle ups for probably 10 years, and I still occasionally chicken wing. That's just kind of human nature when you get tired. But the way to get out of those is, if you're chicken winging on one side, as you start to chicken wing on that one side, you kind of have to see that coming, and you intentionally try to chicken wing on the other side or both sides at the same time, and that'll usually straighten you up. Here I'm on the low bar because I don't want to try and reach for the high bar and be fully extending that shoulder. Again, I'm trying to take care of myself. So I switched to the low bar today for my pull-ups, or my weighted pull-ups. This is a 40-pound vest. I'm trying to hit 2 sets of 12. I think that first set I hit 12, and then I done a negative, so really you could say 13. I didn't do quite as well on the second set. I think I started to burn out around maybe 8 reps or so, and I had to try and break it down into a couple sets, mini sets there. Follow with a negative. I think I rest for a second, and I actually hit another. Yep. Trying to milk everything I can out of those 2 sets that I've been limiting myself to per working exercise recently. Alright, so here, the wind was really ridiculous today. It kept blowing my rings down. Like, I have a super high bar. It's about 13 feet up there. It's just 4 rings and like a climbing rope, and the wind kept blowing the rings down the bar, and I had to keep moving them back. But here I decided to try a one-arm pull-up variation, and this is the first time in my life I'd ever tried this. So I'm kind of just feeling myself out. I'm kind of seeing where I'm at. And I think I was able to hit 5 reps here on each side, and man, this was killer. This was very fatiguing. I'm doing probably 80% of the pulling with that dominant arm, and I'm just pulling just enough to make myself go up, with the opposite arm. And it was very fatiguing, and you can see there that I'm not happy about how I'm feeling, from a fatigue standpoint. But what I was happy about how I was feeling was from the overall health of my shoulder in doing this. I'm working that top range of motion. I'm on the rings. I'm staying out of the bottom because that's where I'm struggling. And the rings are also allowing my joint to, to kind of move more naturally instead of locking it in place. And my shoulder actually felt really great today, so I was very happy, especially now afterwards, because I'm recording this voiceover afterwards. My shoulder feels great. Normally I kind of feel maybe a bit of tendonitis or something. It's just a subtle cramping, but today I'm not feeling that, and I actually trained pretty hard. I'm putting quite a bit of tension on that shoulder there. And that right shoulder is what's holding most of my weight, and holding it for about 5 or 6 seconds. So I feel like I got a good workout in, and I'm feeling good physiologically afterwards. And that's the goal at the end of the day. We all train for different things, but something I can't preach enough is you got to take care of yourself and go slow. We all want to be great at calisthenics and be able to do all these incredible feats of strength, but if you get ahead of yourself and you go too fast, you will definitely injure yourself. So here I'm going beyond 2 sets. Even though I do the 2-set method, I'm doing a third. I think I actually do a 4th set on these one-arm variations here. But the thing to keep in mind is I'm not really burning out or fatiguing myself as much as I did, say, with the weighted pull-ups, for example. I'm just getting maybe 5 to 10 seconds time under tension. This is, instead of trying to break down the muscles so much, what I'm doing here is just training my mind. I'm training that neuromuscular connection. And I'm also kind of feeling out the health of my shoulder, so to say. I'm trying to, condition myself in a very gradual, healthy manner. I'm trying to feel out where my shoulder's at, and discover new variations to train that doesn't irritate it, the way some of the other variations have. And I think the rings and the top range of motion was a good call. So since I was on the rings so much today, I decided to do my stretch out on the rings instead of the low bar. Actually, you saw me pull the red band there off the rings before I got on them. The wind was blowing so strong and blowing the rings down the bar so bad that I had to kind of tie them together with the band. But that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, let me know, and have a nice day.